Hi there, I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and welcome to the very first episode of The Breakfast Club. This is a brand new show that we are bringing to you here on CNN News 18. This is the first of its kind program on Indian television where we are not talking, we are not doing debates, we are not telling you who fought with who. We are going to give you news you can use. We're going to bring you subjects that matter to you. We'll bring you answers to questions you've been wondering about. Basically, everything you need to get that perfect start to your day. And we'll be here every morning at 8 a.m. onwards, right as you sip your coffee, take a bite on that crispy toast to bring you all the news that matters. So without any further delay, let's get started. Alright, so what do we do here on The Breakfast Club? We bring you news divided into various segments. For example, we'll tell you the latest AI tech you should know about. We'll tell you the latest scam you should absolutely stay away from. We'll also bring you news stories on health, on wealth, on auto, on tech as well. And on the program, we'll have lots of celebrity conversations. We'll have people who we call person of interest. So let me not drop in a lot of hints already, but let me tell you this. Joining us for the very first episode is somebody who has defied age and become world #1 at the age of 43. I'll keep you guessing. And I think you might have already if you aren't really living under a rock. That is also coming up on the program. But first up, let's take a look at what is the focus of the very first episode of TBC. Should you take the HPV vaccine? Everything you need to know about cervical cancer explained on the program. Paradise on Earth finally witnesses snow after a worrying dry spell in Kashmir in December and January. Is it linked to climate change? 43 and on top of his game, how Rohan Bopanna. How exactly does he do it? World #1 shares his morning routine and the secret sauce to his success. Planning a trip to Ayodhya but worried about how long you'll have to wait in the cold, where to stay, what to do? TBC has the perfect itinerary for you. How not to fall for the latest scam alert. Your family and friends' voice is now being cloned asking you for money. Don't fall for it. Sunroofs, not just a massive craze, it is a revolution. But we'll tell you on the program why you need to be careful. And the biggest music awards are back. India wins big at the Grammys. 6 Grammys for 5 Indians. Zakir Hussain bagging 3 Grammys. Rakesh Chaurasia bagged 2 and so did Shankar Mahadev. Alright, but our top story today. Let's address what everyone has been talking about all weekend. And no, it's not a particular social media star who faked her own death, but it is cervical cancer. Yesterday was World Cancer Day. And yes, the conversation was about cancer, but in all the wrong ways possible. So on TBC, let's put the needle back to where it belongs. On the second biggest killer of women in India, it is cervical cancer. We spoke with a team of doctors to bring you everything you need to know about cervical cancer. So let's understand all the basics in under 5 minutes. First, let's start with how India has the highest burden of cervical cancer in Asia. Cervical cancer is the second most common cancer in women. And every 8 minutes, a woman dies from cervical cancer. By the time we end this bulletin, you can imagine how many lives would have been lost. Do the math yourself. Over 1.2 lakh women are diagnosed of cervical cancer every year, and over 77,000 women die from it every year. It is detectable despite that, and also, if detected early, can be easily treated. So, what exactly is the problem? We'll discuss that. Also, middle-aged women and those over the age of 30 are at a higher risk. People like me, for example. Also, there is a lot of confusion over cervical cancer. A lot of people calling it cervical cancer. So let me correct you. Cervical is a very different part of the body. Not there. Cervix, what we are talking about, is the lower part of the uterus that connects it to the vagina. Alright, let's talk about key symptoms now. The key symptom, the main thing that doctors will tell you, which should alarm you, should be the red flag about cervical cancer, is a smelly, white, vaginal discharge. If that's coming, please ring up your gynec and discuss it. Also, if you have a vaginal bleeding between your periods, if you have bleeding after menopause, these are pretty basics, remember, but do keep this in mind on what the correlation might be and dial up your gynec. Also, if you have vaginal bleeding after intercourse, or you have very heavy menstrual bleeding lasting longer than usual. Also, another giveaway for cervical cancer is a pelvic pain or pain during intercourse that you might be feeling. All these should be a red flag for you. Also, let's talk about what are the causes then. So, the causes, cervical cancer particularly stems from a viral infection, remember, called the HPV. HPV is a very common virus that is passed through sexual contact. Now, most cervical cancers are caused by this HPV, but remember, HPV doesn't necessarily lead to cancer. We'll decode that for you, so don't get alarmed straight away if you have HPV. For most people, HPV will never cause problems and usually will go on its own. But in some cases, it can change and lead to cancer. So you have to be careful and watch out. There are also some risk factors, things you should not be doing if you want to stay away from cervical cancer. One is very basic, cervical cancer or not, just don't do it. Don't smoke tobacco. Increasing or increased number of sexual partners can give you that. Early sexual activity, and also remember, like we said, it is a sexually transmitted disease. Also, this is, and listen to this carefully when I say, very long-term exposure to miscarriage prevention medicine. Not short time, not a period prescribed by a doctor, but on a very long term, this can lead to cervical cancer. So then the question really is, how to prevent it? Well, ask your doctor about the HPV vaccine. Now, the government is also accelerating the reach of these HPV vaccines. Have routine cancer screening for women above 30. It's a must. Also, practice safe and protected sexual intercourse. That really should do you good. All right, now that you have understood, I hope, everything that is to be known about cervical cancer, let's go across to an expert. Joining us now in the studio is Dr. Mridu Gupta. She's the CEO of CAPD. She's somebody who understands cervical cancer like nobody else. She's also someone who deals with it on a daily basis. Now, Madhu, I'll not address the elephant in the room and talk about this whole fiasco that happened with a particular social media influencer or social media, a popular person, if we can call her that. But this is, yesterday, like I said, was World Cancer Day. The conversation was about cancer in a different way. But let me first address what a lot of people have been wondering, which is this HPV versus cervical cancer. I don't think people get the difference just yet. What is your advice to people when they come to you? How do you tell them that, okay, HPV is something that you should watch out for, but don't get alarmed?
That's right. Exactly like you said it. HPV causes 99% of cervical cancer cases are caused by the HPV virus. But it's a very common virus. So you have this virus. Everybody, if they were to screen themselves below the age of 30, would have the virus. But if you have good immunity and you are healthy, almost 70% of women will clean out the virus on their own. It's like any other virus. It's like you get a viral infection at home. If you have good immunity, you don't catch it. The ones with the lower immunity will catch the virus. So it's basically about being able to overcome the virus on your own. In some women, they are not able to clean out the virus. So if you cannot clean out the virus on your own, over a long period of time, that virus will eventually turn to cancer. It will create changes in the body. You have all that time. It takes 1 to 10 years for an HPV infection to become cancer. So you have all that time to go to a doctor and be screened. And like Sonal was saying, we lose 1 woman every 8 minutes, which means that that entire time period you have, that gestation period of the virus, women just don't get to their gynae. That's what you need to do. For us, we don't prioritize our health.
Right.
So you need to get to a gynae regularly.
I understand the importance of the HPV vaccine. There's a lot of debate about that as well. We understand now the government is also giving it a push. That's the first way in which we actually got started with the conversation around cervical cancer. So who needs it? And what kind of vaccines? We understand there are a couple of them in the market, some 2-dose, some 3-dose, some 4-dose as well. What do you recommend?
So it's not the dose. There are different vaccines. They are the valency of the vaccine. You have a bivalent, you have a quadrivalent, and you have a nonavalent. That means these are the vaccines that work against the virus. There's a vaccine that works against 2 strains of the virus. The quadrivalent works against 4 strains. So HPV has about 114 strains, out of which some of them cause cancer. The others cause benign warts. So the virus depends on the valency of the virus. It deals with those many strains of the virus, the vaccine.
Okay.
Now the vaccine everybody should take. In the developed world, boys and girls are both being given the vaccine.
Oh.
In India, it is only, we are starting with girls. A lot of countries have started with girls. It's a phase-wise manner. So all girls within the age of 9 and 14 must take. It's a preventive vaccine, right? It's what we do with most viral infections. You give the vaccine at a younger age and create immunization. So all girls should take it between the age of 9 and 14. Currently, the data says between 9 and 14, you take 2 doses.
Okay.
From 15 to 26, you take 3 doses. If you're over 26 in India, please speak to your gynae. If you all decide between yourselves to take the vaccine, you can go ahead and take the vaccine till the age of 45 is what we say in India. So yes, I think it's necessary for all. We can save lives. HPV vaccine prevents cancer.
What's news to me over here is the fact that men also take it.
Yeah, so we say
in more
that
developed countries, men are also advised to take the HPV vaccine. That's interesting. My last question really over here, Dr. Madhu, is this, that it's the entire conversation over the weekend also, it became about, I mean, what we've been trying to do on the show is say that it is not about sensationalism but sensitivity that is required when it comes to cervical cancer. Taking away from this episode, what is it that the message you want to leave patients and people with?
So focus on the cause. For advocates like us who've been working on cervical cancer for over a decade, this is a detrimental move that happened. It takes people away from the vaccine confidence. You know, they begin to feel like, what's the catch? Why are you pushing this so hard? So stay focused on the cause, stay focused on the fact that the vaccine prevents cancer. And that is what we need to know. Away from all the gimmickry, let's focus on the cause and let's make sure that we can. Cervical cancer is 100% preventable. It can be eliminated from the country. Let's focus on that. Let's try and eliminate cervical cancer. That's what we need to remember.
All right. Thank you so much for giving us all that insight. And well, yes, that's our message here on TBC as well. Cut the clutter out and focus on what you really need to do, which is at this point, if you are above 30, get yourself screened, talk to your gynac about what the risk could be and get cracking, as it is 100% preventable. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, now for our next story, let's transport you to the most beautiful place on this planet. You know, there's a very famous saying, and I'm going to attempt it, hoping I'm not getting it wrong. Agar firdaus baroi, zamiyasto, hamiyasto, hamiyasto. If there is paradise on earth, it is here, it is here, it is here. Now, you get the drift of what I'm getting at, right? Let's play some pictures, and apologies for getting it wrong if I have already. Now, these are some of the visuals that have come to us from Kashmir. Let's take you there, where it finally snowed. After a worrying dry spell, North India received season's first snowfall post 28th of January, which is a relief after the entire December and January was exceptionally dry. January snowfall was lowest for North India in over 100 years. All this has been linked to climate change, and data also suggests that 2023 ended as the second warmest year on the record for India. This has led to a lot of worries for our rivers, for agriculture. But let's, for the moment, cut across to my colleague Ishan Vani joining us. All right. So Ishan, I'm told, ended up capturing a bit of that snowfall, and this is what he saw. All right, some last minute connectivity issues, but we do have Ishan now. Hi, morning Ishan. Wow, look at you all dressed up for the snow, and would you say finally, after a dry December, a dry January, snow is finally there?
Well, absolutely right. It has been a long wait this winter. It took a while for people to enjoy this mesmerizing view, because this comes just once or twice in the Srinagar city, and rest of Kashmir you might expect some snow even after January or February. People were worried that why hasn't snow been there, because it is very harmful for the agriculture activities, for the climate at large, and then the water reserves. I went to the line of control to do a story, and even the army there was struggling with the water sources that were drying up through time, because the water and the glaciers form an integral part of providing that essential water supply in Kashmir Valley, which supports every activity. Now, snow is not just about all these things. It also attracts tourists at large. Right now, I'm behind me. You can see that some snow is still on the ground. Not what people would expect be on the ground, but yes, this is something which people are happily enjoying and cheering up, because this will bring that sigh of relief, and also the tourists on the ground to enjoy this winter season. There were Khelo India games which are going to happen in Gulmarg. Those were delayed just because there was no snow on the ground. And now it is slowly starting to get its snow, and the much awaited Khelo India winter sports will also take place in Gulmarg at the end of February. But what is also interesting is that there are concerns about the global warming, the El Nino effect, and also about how the glaciers had slowly starting to melt and were changing their shape because of the growing temperatures. But nonetheless, people are enjoying and staying in their homes. And preferably, I'll show you the road today morning. All of us are out there. But yes, people are still in their homes, and not a lot of people have come out. This is the Dal Lake, where you will see a lot of hustle and bustle. But because of the cold winter conditions that prevail, because IMD says that from today evening, there is going to be more colder evenings and sunnier mornings, and then the snow might also freeze, which is good sign for those people living in upper areas. And there are avalanche warnings have already been issued. But yes, something to cheer about finally after a long wait for almost 2 months. In December, it was dry. In January, it was dry. And finally, in the month of February, some snow on the ground.
All right, some snow there on the ground finally. Thanks so much, Ishan, for joining us. But perhaps we need to do a little more deep dive into this story, understand what exactly were the causes and what does this mean overall for how winter patterns are changing in the country. Is that a sign of worry? Is that a story that we really need to keep a track on? And that's something perhaps we'll pick up for tomorrow's episode. So stay tuned if you want to know more about that. But for the moment, let's take a pause and let's go to the very next segment. All right, for the very next story, we are joined by a very special guest. It's clearly his year. It's clearly the year of everybody who's perhaps in their 40s as well. This is a story that has inspired one and all. young and old, if we can really call it that. But without any further ado, let me just bring on our very first guest on TBC and welcome on the program Rohan Bopanna. Hi there, good morning Rohan, and big congratulations. How are you doing today?
First of all, good morning, Sonal, and thank you very much. Lovely chatting to you. Very nice to be on this show as your first episode. Congratulations to everyone part of this team. I think it's going to be brilliant, and I've heard that it's not just one of these other channels where you talk about news. It's going to be more fun things. You're chatting with. So really happy to be as your first guest, and since it's part of the morning, it is that coffee which makes the difference. That is what for me, I wake up to coffee. A lot of people say I wake up after having the coffee, but I wake up to have the coffee. That is my first secret of real success.
Well, that's great to know that insight, Rohan. Also, there was a time when people said you should age like wine. Now they say you should age like Rohan Bopanna. I'm sure that's a great moment for you as well. But I want to take you back for a minute to that winning moment, to that career-defining winning point. Take us back to what was going on in your head at that time. We've seen those pictures where you just went flat on the court like that. What was running?
No, I think it was amazing, proud feeling, and most importantly, I mean, there was, you end up carrying this feel like you're carrying a burden of, whatever there is. Everything just flew away, rather, I would say, and that's why I ended up falling right, on that court. I mean, it was such a amazing, fitting feeling I felt after so many years of trying to get there. You're constantly trying to, cross the hurdle, or as an athlete, it was a personal goal to get better from, what you have done. I mean, the finals was something I had achieved before. Obviously, I wanted to get to that next step. The minute it reached match point, there are nerves, and then Matt hit that great serve, and I had this easy smash to put away, and I was telling myself, don't miss it. But thankfully we got through that.
Right. So, this has been a very interesting year for tennis. We see the big three make way for younger names, perhaps, if I can call it. The conversation about age of the athlete somehow has taken center stage. And you are, of course, 43. Your partner, Matthew, is also in his late 30s. I wonder, is age a conversation among you guys? Do you guys often talk about it, on how to beat it, or how does it go between the two of you?
I don't think so. I don't think we have once, really discussed that. The conversation is, are you fit, ready to go to the match? I don't think, age has anything to do with it. And, success can come at any age. I don't think it, anyone has ever tells you at this age, if you can't get it, there's no more success going to happen. So that is where I, truly believe the perseverance of, constantly being out there, doing it week in, week out, trying and figuring out what was best for me to help the partnership. I mean, back in 2022, when I decided to play with Matthew Ebden, I told my coach, here's a great opportunity to play with a Grand Slam champion. I said, and 2022, I was not really traveling with a physio, and I said, I need to hire a physio. So luckily, I found a great physio from Belgium. Her name is Rebecca, and when she came on the circuit for the first time, I said, see, I wanted something very specific. I have no cartilages on my knees. It's fully worn out. And what I want to do is really focus on strengthening. Even the days I practice, if I'm not feeling great, that's totally fine. But the days I play matches is where I want to feel 100%. So I think she understood that. And then she said, okay, we need to start a lot of mobility, a lot of stretching. I have this love-hate relationship with ice baths. Okay. I think, and today I actually love it. It's become no choice.
Yeah. But let me sort of break it down. before you mentioned ice baths, right? But I hear you have a lot of yoga also happening off late. So share with our viewers your fitness regime, this age-beating fitness regime that Rohan Bopanna has. What does it entail?
So I think when in 2019, when I realized that my cartilages were fully worn out, I did these platelet-rich plasma (PRP) injections in end of the year, and my doctor told me here in Bangalore, he said these injections, definitely will work as long as you start strengthening them. It's not like you just put the injection and you go and you're ready to fly.
Yeah.
So somewhere the pandemic was a blessing in disguise, because that's when I discovered Iyengar yoga.
Okay.
And I found a couple in Bangalore who were teaching Iyengar yoga, place called Practice Room. So, and I called them and I told them, this is my condition. And they said, okay, this is going to be a challenge, but they were ready to, figure out, how to strengthen my legs, because my legs had gotten really weak. Hence, my knees, my bone to bone were rubbing against each other, hence the pain. So once they started doing that, and, I was doing 90-minute session 4 times a week.
Wow.
And initially I thought yoga, it's too slow for me. It's not cutting it. But I'm glad that perseverance is such a big asset in my journey. It has been, I've always trying to find ways, and I actually fell in love with it. I realized, how much of a difference it was making. And apart from just strengthening my legs, then I started aligning my back, my shoulders. And I feel also my mind became a little calmer, some way or the other, indirectly just focusing on those muscles. My mental strength also started getting stronger. And I started looking at also my matches very differently in terms of, if I would say, is that I used to sometimes say that, oh, you know what, I tell my coach, I wish my partner he didn't miss that volley. I missed that forehand. So now I started telling myself, maybe my serve was not good enough, so hence he missed that volley,
Wow.
A new perspective. And, that yoga kind of helped me. I do 10-minute meditations before the day starts. Then I get my beautiful coffee to go with. And also what helps is before matches, I take some power naps. That kind of really helps, refresh the mind, and it's ready to go, that at that moment. Those, like a 10-15-minute power naps, not longer, and after, the matches, the biggest thing is those ice baths. Those ice baths have been amazing for recovery. It helps the inflammation.
So
I was doing ice baths
naps,
quite a bit from a long period of time now, but not every single day. So now I've started doing it every single day when I'm traveling on the tour. Now I look forward to going to the ice bath, because I know how good it feels the following day.
How nice. So you actually have those power naps in common with Virat Kohli as well. That's what he's spoken about. So we've seen we've talked about Rohan Bopanna's fitness routine. You've talked about yoga, ice baths, PRP, power naps, all of those. The next logical question, of course, is food. We all really want to know that what is it that forms Rohan Bopanna's plate? What is this anti-aging diet that you're on? Share some of that with us.
A lot of people I see, they take their proteins, they take their energy drinks, they take various different. For me, what really works is coconut water and banana during matches. That is as simple as that. Plain water, coconut water, and banana. That is all I need. It keeps me going no matter how long I'm there on the court. I like a simple breakfast. I like a lot of fruits. I like my eggs. That's what I really need, when I'm traveling. And then before matches, I eat some white rice with some salmon, white rice with some olive oil, some salt, and some salmon or some chicken. Just keeps me well fed, and it feels good on the court. Sometimes if it's an 11 o'clock match and I've eaten breakfast, I just eat some plain white rice with some olive oil and salt. That's all sometimes it takes. And, after the match, again, I get some chicken, I have some sushi, and maybe a dinner. I try and eat sometimes a steak, sometimes, again, salmon, depending on, how I'm feeling. But yeah, simple. Keep it a lot of very simple, not too elaborate. And I feel I have a sweet tooth, but that's when I say if I win a tournament, if I think I really earned it, then I go have it. It's not like. Some of the countries in Europe, you get some fantastic chocolates.
Chocolates.
So sometimes it is tempting, and yeah, I do indulge.
Yeah, but how come there is no sambar rasam, there is no Mysore pak, there is no idli sambar? What kind of a Bangalorean are you really if you're not including that in your diet, Rohan?
No, it's not complete optional. Unfortunately, I don't get it everywhere. That's the problem. If my entire tour was in Bangalore, that's all I would have been having. I mean, when I come back home, the first thing I eat is idli sambar. I mean, that is what our first day when we travel and we come back, that is the first meal I always indulge in.
All right. So after all those tips on fitness and food, let's me sort of put you back on the court for a little bit. You know, your win has come at a time when Indian tennis is sort of losing its steam. Badminton perhaps taking center stage, being talked about more. What do you wish your win really resonates for young India, for young people playing tennis in India?
I think Indian tennis we were losing out. We definitely needed some kind of inspiration. I think sports always needs inspiration. I think no matter which sport I'm watching, as long as the athlete's name is there and it says India, I'm fully invested in watching that event. I mean, it's a really proud feeling. So I think in tennis, I think we really needed this. I think it's a good opportunity now to bring in a nice structure into the system. Have a lot of tournaments. I've constantly been saying this, and I still say it, is that I feel every state needs to have 2 tournaments a year.
Oh,
at least, in each category. I mean, a girls category, a boys category, men, women, whatever it is. Each state, if they start encouraging, every sport, I think it'll make a tremendous of a difference.
right. But, Rohan, you're a parent. I'm a new parent as well. What do you tell parents who still don't see sports as a career? Or perhaps yours is a story of perseverance, right? 20 years plus to finally get to world #1. What's your message to kids, to parents who are really slogging it out on the court?
I think, Sonal, my biggest thing, for them is not to be in a hurry. One of the reasons I say that is because, say tomorrow your kid wants to become a doctor, an engineer. You go through the process. You go through the process of starting them from kindergarten, then you go to first, second, third, etc., etc., etc. And that means it's taken that long in order to become, successful, person in that field. Similarly, in sport, is the same structure. We are just in a hurry to make them champions quicker, and that's what we are constantly saying. Okay, in 2 months he's done this. What's the next 2 months he has to do this? In another 2 months he has to do that.
Yeah.
Or we join an academy, and if in 2 months there's no results, the parent takes that kid out and puts him in another academy. So but we never do it for school. We don't change academies or don't change coaches in the span of 1 year. We don't go 2-3 places. And the other thing I tell parents is, if you send your kid to whatever academy, you need to trust the coaches. You can't go outside on the fence and just hang around on the fence and start coaching the kid. Because I asked them that, have you ever gone to a classroom and asked the teacher what to do? No parent has ever done that.
Yeah.
They just enroll the kid in that school and they trust the teacher to teach them in that journey. Similarly, in sport, it's a process. It takes time, but you got to trust the process. And that is unfortunately something we are still learning and we are still trying to understand. And I think that when that happens, I think we'll really see a major difference in attitude of the kids, attitude of the parents, everything.
Right, you're right. So trust the process and it'll take time. Rohan Bopanna is now the brand ambassador for that now, really. And like I said, as it took you over 20 years to sort of become world #1. But, you know, Rohan, I'm curious to understand, what do you think is that sort of X factor that comes in winning a sport or not? So when you hear, say, conversations that Novak Djokovic does, he says that the match is always in your mind. He always says that it's a mindset battle. Is that how you feel as well?
It took me a good 20 plus years, to get to #1 in the world. So, I definitely can say I trusted that process.
Right. So, Rohan, if you can hear me, I was trying to understand from you the mindset battle. Is that something that plays on your mind as well? Is there a particular strategy with which you go and you approach your game? Is there a particular song that you play to sort of get in the mood?
I think self-belief. You have to believe in yourself first before, no matter who's around you believes it for you or says whatever. If you don't believe it in yourself, it is not going to happen. I think that journey should be played in your mind yourself first before, everything else starts around you.
All right. On that note, Rohan Bopanna, thanks so much for joining us here on The Breakfast Club. And thank you for sharing your morning with us. And good luck for the upcoming Paris Olympics as well. All right, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up on the other side, we've got the big highlights coming from the Grammys. They started at 6:30 India time this morning, and it is a major win for India. Some 5 Grammys coming our way. We'll tell you all about that. Stay tuned.
दादू
Randy, give us a wave. Mark, give us a wave, Mark.
I just watched Step Brothers last night.
It's a good movie.
What are you in?
Not that one. Hey, Paul, give us a wave, Paul.
Randy's interview was the original, yeah. So it's a fun time for all Ray is an original team. And he's the interview. We're gonna get him inside.
Give us a wave, Smokey.
I'm feeling good, feeling all right. About to have the best time of my life.
Hey, baby face. Nancy's here. Hi, Ted. Give us a wave, Ted. Hi, guys. How are you?
You guys are doing new music, I heard.
Here I am with 5 neighbors for Sunroofs.
Hey, Andra, give us a wave. Thank you.
I can't believe it's tomorrow now. I've been waiting for this day since obviously the nominations, but now that it's tomorrow, I'm like, oh my God, it's just, I'm very excited. I hope I get sleep tonight because I'm so excited I might not be able to just like rest my mind, so.
Do the two of you have like a routine plan for the morning? Like
Hazel and I? Well, I'll be in glam, so I'm hoping that she's still asleep while I start glam, because if she misses her nap, those red carpet pictures will be crying faces, so I'm trying to plan it out so it makes sense for her 2-year-old schedule,
Welcome back. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and you are with the Breakfast Club. Now, let's shift gears to something slightly different here on TBC. We will be talking about things that matter to you on a day-to-day basis. So we thought, let's discuss something that is on everybody's mind if you're going to buy a car or already have a car, and that is sunroofs. Now, sunroofs have become having quite a moment, and they are not just popular, but they are a bit of an obsession right now. So much so that reports now suggest that certain car sales actually picked up because they had a sunroof availability. But to talk more about that, I'm not an expert on cars, but I'm certainly interested. I'm sure so are you. So I got my friend Kranti to join us on TBC. Good morning, Kranti. Thanks so much for joining us on the very first episode.
Congratulations on the first episode.
Thank you. Thank you. So, everybody loves sunroofs, but you don't. I want to know why.
Like them, but I have my, issues with sunroof because when you see all these social posts, especially, what has happened that it's a feature just like any other, and there are certain personal aspects to it and then some safety aspects. So I'll start with the personal thing. You in North India, for 8 to 9 months, you already have the kind of temperature we see. It's so hot, so you can't use it. Okay?
You can't use it.
And then rest of the time, the AQI is really high. So then you cannot open it and use it. And then when I see all these social media posts where people are, popping out of the sunroof, standing out of the sunroof, I find it very unsafe. It is unsafe. And when you tell them that this is unsafe, that you should not do this, or I tweet about it, or maybe I post about it, and then many of my colleagues, they do that. But the first question or the reaction from the readers or followers or viewers, first reaction is that what is it for then? So thing is that what has happened with the kind of marketing we are seeing, the kind of I won't say obsession, but it's kind of obsession only. The sunroof has become almost like the deciding factor, for buying any car.
Yes.
And the data suggests that some of the segments, they have almost 1/4 to maybe 100% variants available in sunroof. So this obsession, obviously, or this trend started. While preparing for this chat, I remembered, other than the data, I saw the trend when there was a car called WRV. Still around, I guess. But I think 7 to 8 years ago, when they launched it, and I reviewed it, I was not too kicked about it. Even Honda, they said that this will do well. It was based on Jazz platform. So, but it did really well. It exceeded their expectation or the anticipation. Why? Because it was with sunroof, and that is the time when I saw that this is a thing now. So
an ordinary car got an extraordinary reaction only because they had this sunroof.
One of the
they had the sunroof feature.
One of the reasons was sunroof. And somehow they were also trying to figure out what is happening. And I feel that, I mean, one story was that, and another other story was the 2020 Creta, when it was launched. Two features or two aspects which basically help all the customers to decide between Creta and the rival Seltos was, one was obviously the driving, they like the driving feel of Creta more, it was softer, more comfortable. But biggest factor was the sunroof. The size of sunroof on the Creta 2020 was much bigger than the Seltos, and so many customers, they told me that, okay, whatever you say, but I'll go for this car.
But this is such a, it is a game changer. It is a conversation starter, no, Kranti? Every time you talk to a friend, you'll say, I have a new car. The kids in the family are going to say, does it have a sunroof? You know, others are going to say, does it have a sunroof? It is a deciding factor in so many ways.
It is.
But today in our conversation, we're trying to tell people also that it can be really unsafe if used the wrong way. We've got lots of data that suggests that it has led to so many accidents as well. But so what is a safe way of using sunroof? Or would you suggest that that shouldn't be a factor when you're deciding on a car? Or are there other things one should keep in mind?
That could be, that is one of the biggest factors. So that's okay. What I'm more worried about is the way we use it. For example, the biggest issue I have is the social media usage of sunroof. Most of the pictures, most of the posts, I'm not sure if your car is with sunroof or not. Let's not discuss that.
Let's not get into that.
But what we've seen that every social post, the moment the sunroof, the moment that word comes, everyone wants to post a picture with standing out of the sunroof. It is unsafe. It is illegal, in case people don't know, because
it is illegal.
I mean, it is risky and careless driving. A and B, in places like Delhi, now we have laws like all the passengers should, even the rear seat passenger, they should have the seat belts on. So in case someone is standing, that means automatically you're not wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, wow.
So and some of the I think the states, I think they have passed.
They have rules.
Rules against this. And generally, I've seen or we have seen so many challans issued because of this. So I have this issue with the usage of it. So you can use it definitely. I mean, I don't enjoy it so much.
But when? If you have to wear a seatbelt on, when do you use it then?
You can use it when, while maybe those areas where we generally go out in the summers, maybe hills where AQI is good, you can open it. Otherwise, what I do.
But maybe on a standing car, like don't drive with the sunroof.
Use it in the sense, don't. I'm not asking you to stand.
Pop your head out.
I'm just saying that when you open it, it gives a good feeling. Wind in the hair kind of thing. So it's like a shortcut for the cabriolets, I would say, the convertibles. So it's like a shortcut for that. So you don't have to spend so much to buy, a cabriolet.
Well, we are going to get a lot of reactions from viewers after you've told them not to use sunroof. Please direct all those questions to Kranti and not to us. He is the one who's asking you not to use sunroofs too much. But thanks so much, Kranti. Look forward to more such chats. Maybe we can talk about ADAS next time. And that's a craze as well. We'll get to that. Thanks so much for joining us on TBC. All right, from cars to what's making really headways are the Grammys. Well, they've been announced. They're in the process of being announced, in fact, and it's a big win for India. 6 Grammys have gone to 5 Indians. This includes Zakir Hussain, it includes Rakesh Chaurasia, also Shankar Mahadevan. And we're all very curious to understand, well, who will win the final best album. There is a lot of chatter on whether Swifties are finally going to bag it, and if that does happen, by the way, it will be the biggest record setter. Also, there is a lot of this competition that has been going on for years between Beyonce and Taylor Swift. What exactly happens, what doesn't? We'll talk about all of that. But the pictures that you see on your screen are actually of one of the albums, one of the songs that was nominated, which had a little bit of a presence of the Prime Minister as well. That's why we have those pictures on your screen right now. But lots of interesting categories, and Sakshi is with us in the studio to talk about that. Good morning. You've had an early morning tracking all the updates, who's wearing what, you want to see everything, but we still have some time to go before we get to know who's got the best album. But what a moment for India, Shakti, and I'm sure after watching this, everybody will be Googling what's this track, because it's not very popular in India just yet.
So, Shakti is basically an instrumental, Sonal, first of all. This 66 Grammy Awards is going to be really, really big for our Indians. And the night is still young. We are expecting some more. But the track that you were talking about that has Prime Minister Modi's presence is basically all about millets. As you remember, last year UN Prime Minister Modi actually announced it the International Year for Millets. And related to that, the Abundance in Millets is a track which featured Prime Minister Modi in some of his speeches at the UN. Now the 66 Grammy Annual Awards that we are actually talking about, it's still going on. India bagged 2 big wins at the ceremony. It has been already revealed that India's Shakti, the band which you were actually talking about, Sonal, it is a collaboration featuring 4 great Indian artists including John McLaughlin, Zakir Hussain, Shankar Mahadevan, V. Selva Ganesh and Ganesh Rajagopalan as well. They have already won Grammy Award for their work, The Moment. This is the track, the instrumental track that we were actually talking about. Now, the song has won Best Global Music Award. Music Album Award. Now, besides Shakti, India's Rakesh Chaurasia, very interestingly, Sonal, has won 2 awards this time, as in the opening segment also, you also said that it's 5 Indians winning 6 Grammys. So, it's a big year for India, definitely.
Okay, and the talk of the town, Sakshi, is going to be what happens to Taylor Swift's album. What a year and year that she continues to have, and we're all roaring for her, of course. But what are the chances there? We've got the first look of her at the red carpet for everybody who sort of missed it. It's quite an interesting look that she's put up there. But a lot of debate over what album, what awards will she really bag? Will the overall number beat Beyonce? What's your hunch at the moment?
So, we all are anticipating that Taylor Swift might just bag Album of the Year as a Swiftian. But just to answer your second question, whether she'll be beating Beyonce's record, it's far away from that goal because Beyonce is a 32-time Grammy Award winner. Of course, she never bagged Album of the Year for her. But Taylor Swift so far has already won 13. She has already bagged 1 amongst the 6 other categories that she has been nominated for. She bagged 6 nominations throughout Grammys 2024, already won. She was earlier a 12-time Grammy Award winner. Now she's a 13-time. So it's far away from the goal that
but the way she's going, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
She'll cover quite a bit of the distance in just 1 or 2 years, the ride that she's having. Also, I want to take a minute to talk about how this year it has been dominated by female artists.
Yes.
It's been phenomenal. Of course, again, not to sort of circle it back to Taylor Swift and all her girlfriends and all the girl camaraderie that has been the rage that has been spoken about. But do you have some numbers on how many female artists actually got nominations and what are we expecting?
So definitely you cannot count on the numbers because there are a lot of female bands who have participated.
Okay.
There are 3 different categories also which has been introduced to Grammys 2024. But apart from that, as you just mentioned, that this time the Grammy nomination list was actually female dominated, and we just heard that Miley Cyrus surprisingly won her first Grammy. Can you actually believe it? She has such a huge fandom.
Yeah.
She has already won 1. And this is her first Grammy.
Okay.
For Flowers.
Yeah.
I'm sure you must have heard the song.
Yes, on loop.
So that's it for Miley Cyrus also, and big day for Indian artists as well as we are just hoping Album of the Year for Taylor Swift this time.
All right, thanks so much, Sakshi, for joining us. So all that latest coming in from Grammys, you can also catch all the day through the day on CNN, and also catch us all the action on CNNnews18.com as well. That's all we have for you for today. We'll see you again tomorrow, 8 a.m. right here. See you then. And if you have any further questions, feedback, just write into us. We read all of them and we'll get back to you. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
You can ignore this ad.
3. Correct me when I'm wrong. This man got 3 nominations.
You know, we've been pushing the culture and the whole African music idea in America for years. You know, I grew up part of my life here. You know, being a Nigerian that has lived in America and gone back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I understand both worlds, and I'm just happy that finally, Africa is being painted in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Years ago, it wasn't about the music. It was some other stuff, scamming, this, that. But now it's like we have better things to say about Africa. The music, the food, the culture, the fashion, so much good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I've noticed that every night I start sleeping less. So, but I'm worried about tomorrow when y'all see me. I'm just going to be all bug-eyed. So. I think it was a really cool opportunity to go talk to him. And I just wanted to speak on behalf of the ones that I feel like aren't often spoken for. And I think that God has gave me an ability because of this music to get in these situations where I'm requested to do that. And I know who I'm talking for, and I think that's the most important thing.
Are you inspired? That's from my youth. That's a long time ago. But yeah, no. And what I think about Clive is that he's made us heroes to our children because.
Have a great night.
No, I'm happy about Joe Biden winning today with over 95% of the vote in South Carolina. It was a big victory for him today.
It's her album. It's my new album called Bailar, but we did a song, a classic Celia Cruz song called Bemba Colorado. Comes out in a couple of weeks. So we're really excited about it. First time collaborating. Well, I played on her music. This first time she's playing on my record. So very exciting.
And when you guys pick it back up, is it like riding a bike?
It's very natural with us. Way natural, yeah. Because we're family, so it's easy. Like to be in the room with a family and record and have fun, and we laugh. And we're all about the percussion. Hello. Percussion and tequila. Those two together. Yes! Absolutely. I love this guy.
Oh, I love you, Diane.
We got to do something.
Soon, real soon.
Yes. Love.
Yeah, anyone you're looking forward to seeing? Yeah. And have you seen Clive recently?
Oh.
Like, wow, that was
You can never fight technology. You're always going to lose. I think